The first time Samuel saw a man in a suit, he was 10 years old, barefoot, holding a rusted can, begging at a traffic light. The man didn't look down. He didn't have to. Samuel wasn't a person to him, just a blur, a shadow, a stain on the city's windshield. But Samuel looked up, and what he saw wasn't just clothing. It was freedom. It was power. It was escape. And something inside him cracked open. That night, as rain tapped the rusted roof of their one-room shack, he heard his mother praying over a pot with no food in it. "God," she whispered, her voice shaking, "don't let my son die poor like me." Samuel didn't cry. He clenched his jaw and whispered to himself in the dark, "We were born in poverty, but we will not die in it." Samuel grew up counting rice grains like treasure. Breakfast was a luxury, lunch was a maybe. Dinner? Often just silence. He sold oranges by the roadside with the kind of smile that said, "Please don't pity me, just buy one." Other kids mocked his torn clothes and barefoot walk to school, but he watched them, the ones who laughed, and noticed something. They stopped when they were tired. He never did. One teacher once told him, "Samuel, kids from the slums don't become bosses." He smiled politely, but inside, something caught fire. That night, he tore a piece from a cereal box and wrote, "I will not stay poor. I don't care what it takes." He folded it and kept it under his mattress, the first brick of a future he hadn't yet built. At 16, Samuel started mopping floors at a local office. One night, as he scrubbed under a desk, he saw a framed quote, "The man who moves a mountain begins by carrying small stones." It hit him like thunder. He whispered, "Then I'll carry every damn stone I find." From that day on, he cleaned in the mornings, studied in the afternoons, and read used business books at night. The ones people tossed in bins without knowing they were throwing away gold. He slept 3 hours a night, not because he wanted success fast, but because poverty doesn't wait. It hunts. At 21, Samuel bought a used bucket, a sponge, and a bottle of soap. He called it a business. People laughed. Who's gonna trust a street kid to clean their car? But he showed up. Every day. No breaks. No excuses. He washed the first car like it belonged to the president. Word spread. He saved every coin. Ate less. Hustled harder. Reinvested everything. By 23, he had a second bucket, then a second helper. By 25, he owned a branded van. He never celebrated. Not yet. Because the mission wasn't money. It was freedom. It was proof. By 30, Samuel owned a fleet of mobile car wash vans, 2 detailing centers, and a job training program for underprivileged youth. But he wasn't done. He returned to the same slum he came from, the same road he once begged on, and opened a free skills academy. People asked him, "How did you do it?" Samuel just smiled and said, "Poverty is a place, not a prison. You escape when you refuse to sit still." He built classrooms out of old containers. He gave away free uniforms because he remembered what it felt like to be ashamed of your clothes. He taught not just skills, but mindset. "You are not cursed," he told the students. "You are just not done yet." At the grand opening of the academy, he placed one empty chair at the front of the stage. "For my mother," he said. She wasn't alive to see it, but he'd kept the promise anyway. As the crowd clapped, he looked into the eyes of every student in front of him. Kids who had walked to class with no lunch, no notebooks, no hope, and said, "You will never remain poor. Not if you rise every time you fall, not if you fight when you're tired, not if you believe when no one else does." And he paused, voice steady as stone. "Poverty is not your name. It's just your starting line, and starting lines were made to be left behind." The room erupted, because in that moment they didn't just see a man who made it. They saw themselves in him, and believed for the first time that maybe, just maybe, they were never meant to remain poor either. Poverty is not a permanent identity. It is a circumstance, not a sentence. You are not defined by where you start, but by how fiercely you rise, how hard you work, and how deeply you believe in the possibility of more. With discipline, relentless effort, and unshakable faith, no background is too broken to build a future from. You may be born in struggle, but you don't have to die in it. You will never remain poor if you refuse to stay where you started.